Hello everybody and welcome to our latest video with the commander list. Today we are going to be covering the high tiers. These tiers are tier 8 and above, where the commander abilities are fully unlocked or close to be fully unlocked, and we're going to discuss the game balance among the commanders. So let's cover the commanders real quick. Now here's the tier list that I have in mind. A quick disclaimer: this is purely my opinion. This is compiled from my personal observation of the recent tournaments of the competitive players, and this is not an absolute list. So with that in mind, let's move forward. Let's start with the low tier, just like the last time. Alexander and Scipio are simply outmatched when it comes to the top units that they play. The Scipio is completely outmatched by Sulla Cavalry, even Caesar Cavalry. Just about anything beats this poor guy. I feel like he definitely needs a buff, especially the Oath of Perseverance. Alexander, similarly, the Barbarian Cavalry, their charge is just way too good, especially tier 9 Harbingers. Even with the Wedge. Now, I did see him being used quite a lot more often. However, when it comes to competitive, I will still have to say no to Alexander and put him on the low tier with Scipio. Now, let's go to the mid tier. Now, on overall, you can see this looks a lot more balanced than the tier 5, you know? The kind of standard distribution, so to speak. Or in this case, it looks like a Christmas tree, which would be more of a standard distribution. So we have got on the mid tier Leonidas. Leonidas was the one that I didn't know where to put. Like low tier, but like what is his utility? What does he add to the team? And that sort of thing. Extra strike is nice, especially against his counter dogs. But with Boudica changes, the strikes will no longer apply to dogs, pushing Leonidas to the mid tier. Quick explanation: mid tier is where these generals are okay. If you play them well, definitely pick them. They're a viable choice, but they are usually pigeonholed into a specific role in their niche, so to speak. So Leonidas, I just don't think he provides enough to the team to be considered high tier. Mid tier, we also have got Germanicus. Similarly, he's great at being a battering ram. Both of these commanders, all the commanders here, are good at what they do. If you put them in a specific role, they're very much viable. The Germanicus being his only ability being the battering ram of the team, and the fact that spears are just way too good at holding the infantry. The fact that the infantry, especially heavy infantry, is just being so slow, he's not able to do what Miltiades just does a lot better. Sure, he will kill all the spears, he will beat Miltiades left and right, but he's just so slow, he won't be able to beat anything else. Sulla, mid-tier, I was debating whether to put this one here because his cavalry with prescription is incredibly good. The idea of whip increasing the damage while proscription reducing the enemy damage almost to 0 is very, very good, especially on high tiers. However, outside of that, he just doesn't provide much of a thing. Sure, his javelins might be okay, but he's a second pick when it comes to javelins simply because the Caesar buffs. Hasdrubal, similarly, he recently got buffed considerably with his units. Whenever he gives one of his buffs, he also receives the copy of the buff, which effectively doubles their effect. However, the way he's played is a little bit more aggressive, and as a support, it can work, maybe with a combination, but it's just not as good as the area buffs of Caesar. He can work in his specific role. Let's say you have given the buffs and you want to encircle the enemy because he's more of a cavalry commander. He is good at that. Boudica definitely gets a raise. I was considering putting her on high tier because Rebellion is an area of effect. He's got a very long duration and it does not go away when you go out of its range. So right before the engagement, everybody bunches up. She activates Rebellion. Everybody gets tremendous melee defense bonus, speed bonus, attack bonus, terrain negation bonuses. Just great bonuses. And on her own now with her ambush ability, I believe, now being buffed, she's a good contender for the future high tier, but I'm yet to see her in battle a bit more often. So she is good at what she does. Next up, we've got high tier. Now, let's skip Caesar to the last because I'm a little biased there. Vercingetorix is no longer top tier because of the improvements in spears. They're a lot faster. The Arminius cavalry and the other cavalry is just so strong. The Defiance no longer holds the same ground. And with the skirmisher range increase in general and more of their abilities, the cavalry in general gets a substantial nerf. Now, next comes Hannibal. The reason Hannibal is on high tier is because with the recent buffs to his swords, he became a very good replacement for Germanicus. He is a little weaker than Germanicus, so he loses on a head-to-head engagement, but he is perfect at what he does, which is eliminating enemy spears. They are, the Carthaginian swords are in a bit of a looser formation, and they're a lot faster, allowing them to had their hits to connect a lot faster and kill those spears quite a bit faster. In addition, he can just do considerable damage to the enemy line of everything. He's fast, he is strong, not as strong as Germanicus, but he more than makes up for it in his speed, and we saw that in the Rise of the Commanders tournament. And next up, we've got Arminius. Arminius Classic with his infiltration. He's very fast. Tremendous scout, the fastest unit in the game with his cavalry. Just, you know, the same thing as before. It's a very common sight to see Arminius, especially in the larger battles. Now let's talk about Caesar. Caesar, I'm a little biased towards Caesar because it's my main, and I was initially put him on top tier, but I am not very certain because he's pigeonholed into playing javelins due to his Vici. Vici definitely gets, or Vici gets, the considerable buff at tier 8 because now its range is very, very good. I believe it's 35 meters range, which allows you to stand where you are and stop any frontline ability from activating, which is great. In combination with Kanane, the VD increases the reload speed and just turns Barrage into I win button. Also, his fire rate increase for javelins is noticeable. So that makes him really good, especially that the Veni buff. Its area is increased. Now it's, I believe, 50% melee attack, 50% melee defense. Just everybody is a lot stronger. Combined with any other support, you no longer receive damage. Combine your front lines with the Boudica buffs and the Caesar buffs, you take 0 damage. Combine it with Sulla, nobody takes any damage, in melee at least. So there you can just focus on beating the enemy front lines and holding your ground. I am yet to see a serious competitive team without a Caesar. So I want to put him on top tier, but you can definitely have a lot of things to wipe him out. You can have the archers, you can still have the elephants chasing the Caesar, you can have the cavalry. So that's why I dropped him a little bit on high tier, but I would say he is somewhere between the high tier and top tier. Now let's talk about the top tier, Kanane. Kanane definitely a top tier commander despite the disagreements of, I know, a lot of the Kanane players. However, the fact that we have discovered that Veni stacks with Barrage, turning the Barrage into the stronger version of what it used to be. For those who remember, in the closed beta, the Barrage used to be able to wipe out units directly. It was an endless stream of arrows. Now it is the same thing. When that has changed, we can review that, but right now it's very strong. Even without it, the fact that Kanane is able to do tremendous amounts of damage with her focus fire archers at a very good range at every unit is a very good benefit. She controls that area just perfectly. So even with slingers, the rapid advance increases. Definitely good, but I still have to go Miltiades. Miltiades, as always, just like the last time, top tier because of his area control. The break ranks, just the strongest ability in the game. I don't care what you say. It increases your speed, attack, and defense. Now, it might actually say that it reduces, but listen to this. Because it is the only ability that gives you loose formation, it protects you from a lot of the archer fire. Archer fire, any skirmisher fire, you are heavily protected. It's very difficult for you to be hit when you are in break ranks and you're just so fast, you're able to catch everything. Your charge, very short cooldown. Your fear slows everything that can try to stop you. You can pull through like there's no tomorrow. Sure, you will lose men, yeah, but that's no big deal, because with the break ranks, for some reason, your men more often are likely to fight to the last man. So Miltiades is a must. Top tiers, I would say, you will see that in almost every team. High tier, you will see that in the vast majority. Mid tiers, depending on the role and strategy and how good the player is with that commander. You will see them low tier. There's just no point in picking them. They're completely outclassed. And this is my assessment of the high tier commander tiers for Total War Arena competitive. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm quite interested. As I said, it's pretty subjective opinion we've got here. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.